Good evening and welcome to the special City Council meeting for Monday, June 9th, 2025. We will begin with a roll call and determination of quorum.
Lehman. Here. Maher. Here. Roberts. Here. Stroman.
Here.
Pettigrew. Sechrist.
Here.
Bieberdorf.
Here.
Ham. Evans. Roseland.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Before we go to the Pledge of Allegiance, if you don't know, today marks the 53rd anniversary of the 1972 flood. We lost 238 lives in our community. Many families, of course, lost loved ones. We had so many people help rebuild this city, help in the rescue efforts. And even though it's been 53 years, some of us weren't even born at that time. It's appropriate for us to honor their memories and all of those who have survived. And so I will ask us to rise in a moment of silence, and we will follow that with a Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Next, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda. Got a motion by Lehman and a second by Roberts to adopt. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we'll move on to general public comment. This is a time for members of the public to discuss or express concerns to the council, on any issue not on the agenda. Action will not be taken at the meeting on any issue not on the agenda, except by placement on the agenda by unanimous vote of the council members present. And looking at my speaker request forms, these are all agenda items. And we did not add a public comment for that, so we'll just go ahead and do these right now then. We'll begin with Stacy Huther. Stacy, you have 3 minutes for your comments. We'll have a countdown timer right above us here. So when it hits yellow, that means you got 30 seconds to go.
I guess I'll kick us off. Good evening, Mayor and members of the council. I'm Stacy Heater, and I serve as Vice President of the Rushmore Swim Team. My 12-year-old daughter is a member of the team. As you'll learn tonight during the Vision Fund Committee presentation, the proposal we put forward is not being recommended for funding this time around. I stand before you now to ask for your help as we seem to be at an impasse. As you'll recall, back in 2019, our swim team on behalf of the Aquatics community was the fortunate recipient of Vision funds to enclose the Roosevelt 50-meter outdoor swimming pool. However, due to concerns and hesitation from the city, this project was tabled and a feasibility study was ordered to see what options were available and the costs of such. Fast forward to the latest round of the Vision funds, our team, on behalf of several aquatic groups, once again put forward a proposal to cover the pool, this time advocating for a sprung structure rather than the air-supported dome. As we've stated since day one, we'd accept any structure as they all solve the number one problem, which is pool space is at capacity in Rapid City. Unfortunately, our project has not been recommended for funding by the committee. After several walkthroughs and presentations with the Vision Fund Committee members and City Council members, many see the need and the reasoning for covering the pool, but the apprehension in doing so lies in the structure that we've proposed and what is viewed as a temporary structure. Our read is that many of you want a standout, permanent structure with the philosophy, if we're going to cover the pool, we should do it correctly with the structure our city should be proud of. This is why I'm standing here tonight, for your help. We can build a more permanent structure. I'm proposing that we use the $966,000 left over from the Vision Fund funding in 2019 that is still allocated to our project. We're asking you to approve the $2.35 million that we asked for this Vision Fund round, and for the city to invest an additional $3.1 million to go for the retractable roof permanent structure. This is an opportunity to complete the Roosevelt Swim Center project in its totality. when we can fund 50% of the costs with Vision Fund money. The Roosevelt Indoor Aquatic Center was completed using 2002 Vision funds, and the outdoor pool was built using 2010 Vision funds. The finalization of the project could be completed with this round of Vision funds, plus some capital improvement funds. This is a perfect example of a visionary project to enhance the quality of life for all of Rapid City. I'd appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy. Also, my apologies for mispronouncing your last name. Happens to me all the time. So next we have Trevor Carlin.
My name's Trevor Carlin. I'm a disabled veteran. I grew up, not born, but raised here all my life. I'm here to talk about the Canyon Lake Little League area and the ADA compliance out there. I just got a short note. Hello everyone, and thank you for letting me share a few words. I want to talk about what an upgrade to our baseball complex would mean, especially for folks with mobility challenges like mine. Right now, getting around the space can be incredibly hard. The gravel paths, the wet grass, the curbs, they're all barriers. And for someone using a mobility chair like I do, they can turn what should be a fun, simple day at the ballpark into a frustrating and sometimes humiliating experience. I'll be honest, it's embarrassing. And when I get stuck in the gravel or can't make it over a curb and everyone stops and stares. What's worse is when my 7-year-old son, who just wants to walk beside me and watch his brother play, has to come over and help push me out. He's being helpful, but that's not a burden he should have to carry. And then there's trying to get into the restroom or just move from field to field. These are all small inconveniences. These aren't small inconveniences. They're daily reminders that the space wasn't built for people like me. That hurts, not just physically, but emotionally too. An upgrade isn't about luxury, it's about dignity. It's about what ensuring that everyone, no matter how they move, can show up, support their kids, and enjoy the game that everyone likes. Thank you for listening, and I hope we can work together to make this complex truly accessible for all.
Thank you, sir. The final speaker request forms before we move on to the presentation and discussion is from Dale Lefevre.
All right, thank you everyone for giving me the opportunity to speak. That's hard to follow, but I'm representing Canyon Lake Little League as well. And I got a very similar story to Trevor. My wife is over there and she's in tears right now because she knows the exact pain that Trevor's going through. She was diagnosed with MS 13, 14 years ago, and what she loves to do is just go watch her boys play baseball right now. And with our current complex, it's a struggle for her to go there in any capacity. I am also the maintenance director there as well, and I see it on a daily basis. I've seen it multiple times where I've seen an elderly couple try to go across our gravel parking lot, get stuck, or even dump their significant other in the parking lot, and myself and my father-in-law ran over to pick them up and get them back in the chair to get them going, and we actually had to help them push through the gravel. This is it's a problem that we've had for a long time. And Vision Funds, I want to say thanks for the recommendation. This is huge. The allotted money that we're asking for will go a long ways with the projects that we're asking for, ADA wise, as well as the maintenance side of the house as well. This project will actually unite two little leagues. As you might know, we merged with Rapid City Youth Baseball this year. And we kind of have a barrier of a drainage ditch to where we can't get from one side to the other. And this project right here will actually help unite that. The area that we're at on a daily basis, you'll see 6 to 7 cars as a hub to get to the sidewalk that'll take you to either Storybook Island or on your way to Canyon Lake Park. So this is a huge project for us. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. That will conclude the public comment period, which is item number 1, by the way. And we will move on to number 2. And with this, before we do this, do we have a presentation from the Vision Fund Committee Chair, John Kaiser. And John, before you give the presentation, I just want to give a kudos to the Vision Fund Committee. They have worked very diligently on an aggressive timeline the last several months. They've done a lot of research, tours. Their dedication, their efforts is so deeply appreciated by this community. The Citizen Committee did an excellent job. And if you're here as part of the Citizen Committee, would you please rise so that we can acknowledge and appreciate you? Thank you. And of course, Mr. Kaiser, as the chair, appreciate your efforts and leadership as well. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Good evening, City Council. My name is John Kaiser, and I was the chair for the 2025 Rapid City Vision Fund. Briefly, just going to echo what the mayor stated with the committee that he put around me. Outstanding group of highly intelligent, thoughtful, analytical people. We challenged one another during the whole process. 15 hours worth of tours from 75-degree weather to 40-mile-an-hour winds and 40-degree weather. They put in a lot of work, multiple meetings, multiple exercises, budgeting exercises, healthy conflict. You couldn't have asked for a better group, and I'm just very thankful and very proud to have served alongside that excellent committee. So thank you, committee. And with that, we will. I would walk you through project by project the ones that we chose to allocate. I don't know if do I have control of the screen?
Just use the arrows on the keyboard.
I am not a tech guy. All right, here we go. Start off with the first project that we allocated, which was the Bocce Ball Park beautification. First thing I wanted to kind of clarify on this project and the reason we liked it, we were actually, none of this money is going towards the construction of bocce ball courts. The Bocce Ball organization, the thing that we liked probably the most about it was those guys got out and they hustled and they fundraised more than half of this project. So all of the actual construction of the courts is being done by their organization and their fundraising efforts. The $950,000 that will be allocated towards this will be to beautify the park and make it available to everybody outside of the organization as well. So restrooms, shade coverings, trees, benches. The thing that we liked about bocce ball was it's a sport that anybody can play regardless of your physical or age or anything like that. And again, low ongoing maintenance costs. That was a big thing for us as we started to really look at these projects, was not introducing any more O&M onto the city budgets. Great location, really in the heart of Rapid City. $950,000 was chosen, obviously, to go towards this. Even in the middle of the project, originally they had asked for a larger amount. They came back and said, hey, we went and found more money. And so the ask actually was reduced from the time that the application was submitted to the time that it was selected. So I do want to give them a kudos for just their overall efforts to get out there and really help fundraise themselves. And that is why we chose to fund the Bocce Ball Park beautification project. The next one was the Canyon Lake Little League ADA Park connectivity. You've already heard two speakers. I don't think I could do any of a better job explaining why we selected this than they did. But just a little history. Yes, this year we have merged from 3 Little Leagues down to 2. And with that, you'll find 2 different parks that we are trying to, the reason we selected it was to merge them into one to help with the accessibility. Currently, you either have to go onto 32nd Street, which doesn't have a sidewalk on that side to access what was formerly RCYB, or you can see you have to go onto the bike path up, way up towards the city-owned softball fields and then across. It's a group of individuals that have invested back into the facilities over $200,000 over the past 10 years. They're the largest Little League in the community, and they've never received funding before. They're a great organization. They have a lot of kids that are benefiting both boys and girls. 0 ongoing maintenance costs to the city. And again, we have an obligation to make sure that all of our parks are available and accessible to everybody. And so that is why we chose the funding for this particular project. Rapid City Video Management Phase 1. We chose to allocate money towards this one for public safety. This was a big public safety one for us. I think as we've seen, Rapid City is arguably one of the fastest growing towns in the Midwest. And with that comes intersection traffic flow issues. We have a train that runs through the middle of town. There's lots of obstacles, that face our first responders when it comes to just getting out and being as fast as possible to respond, I guess. This one was big on us because it really doesn't impede too much on the public's privacy. It's more about the public safety side of things at the intersection, helping with traffic flows, hit and runs, damage to city-owned property, things like that. We kind of heard the police department come and talk about how they had to go door to door to local businesses to try to get somebody that had a camera on their front door that might have caught an accident, hit and run. And it ties up an immense amount of time of the police department's resources. And we just felt like this one was a really easy, low investment to increase public safety, to help with the traffic and the increasingly growing population, and aid faster response time for our first responders. This is why we chose to allocate Phase 1. Ignite Soccer. If you look at this organization and how young they are and the fact that they're already at 200 plus youth and adult participants, it's a really easy investment. They do a great job maintaining that field over there on Campbell and East St. James. They came and asked for money last time on a larger scale for some fencing and restrooms and different things, and weren't allocated. And this time they're just looking for lights so they can play a little bit longer. And honestly, we thought for $70,000 to invest that in 200 plus kids and give them the ability to grow so that they can actually add more kids, because I'm pretty sure they're turning people away left and right just because they're either running out of fields or they're running out of daylight. We thought this was a really, really affordable investment into a great program that's continuing to have a good impact on not only our youth soccer players, but our adult leagues as well. And they did a great job at going out and actually getting entities to come and donate the box power, the Black Hills Energy power to the field, and then they also went and got somebody to volunteer to actually install the lights. So this is really just helping to purchase the lights, and I thought that for such a small investment, it would have a big impact on our local community, especially in the youth soccer world. So that's why we chose to allocate money to Ignite Soccer. The Journey Museum. If you've watched any interview of mine, you would know that this one off the bat was one that I really didn't have an interest in. I had never been and didn't know much about it, and a tour changed all that. What a great asset, hidden asset in our city, and the amount of history that they have in that facility that is so important to Rapid City is jaw-dropping. So they came and asked for $150,000 just to be able to store our history a little bit better. They merged with the Historical Society. They have a great leadership. They did a great job on the tour. It's a small investment to protect what is some of the most important artifacts and history that pertains to Rapid City and to our community. It's definitely not a sexy project, but it is something that behind the scenes is going to have a long-term impact for remembering everything that's made us be what we are in Rapid City. The example I like to use was we walked into a storage closet, and on the ground was like a push cart, and there was a pair of small Native American moccasins that I can't tell you how old they were. But just to kind of see them on that push cart and not have them be somewhere where they were protected and out of just the general hustle and bustle of working at a museum was pretty eye-opening. So we thought this was a slam dunk as far as funding. So $150,000 for essentially a big rolling artifact storage for Journey Museum was a no-brainer. McKeague Field. I think that when you look at the availability for baseball in Rapid City, sometimes it can get kind of jumbled because we have a lot of fields, but all those fields serve different entities, right? As far as your baseball for kids that are above the age of 13 to 18, there's about 3 fields that serve that, and that's McKeague, 320, and 22. And I think that when you look at the amount of availability that McKeague Fields provides to ages from 10 years old all the way up to 70 plus senior men's baseball, it would shock you. they went through their calendar, and it was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games throughout the summer on one field. They have maintained that facility so well, using whatever funds they can fundraise on their own. They have 4 local high schools, I believe. Is that right? 4? 5. Excuse me. Thank you. 5 high school baseball teams that play out of there. They also host a tournament throughout the summer that also brings in quite an economic impact. And I think that if you've paid attention to the news at all, you'll see that high school baseball is close to being sanctioned by the High School Activities Association, which is only going to help that grow. While we would have liked to have given more, what we had available was for them to improve their backstops and their dugouts, making the viewing of the field and the safety of the players in the dugouts better. 0 ongoing maintenance to the city, and on a project that is already an extremely well-maintained and accessible field. So to us, this was a really great project. I've had my kids have played on that, and they're 9 years old, you know, and for them to have that availability from 9 all the way up to their senior men's division, which has gentlemen playing in their 70s, is remarkable. And it's a really good hidden gem in this city, and we were excited to be able to allocate that $250,000 to them. Rapid City Parks and Rec, Canyon Lake Park Pond Wall Phase 1 and 2. This is, obviously our biggest one. This was number 1 on Parks and Recs, and it was pretty obvious to see why. This was the day of the tour. This is when it was 45 degrees out and had 40-mile-an-hour winds. It was not a great day. But nonetheless, kudos to the committee. We made it out there. And the first thing I would point out that we noticed was a half a dozen of some 12-year-old boys that were out there in bro tanks and shorts fishing. And they were fishing right alongside the pond walls there. And at first I kind of thought it was funny and kind of ironic, and then the more I got close to the pond walls, I realized that there's parts of the pond walls that have already collapsed into the pond, and it's a real safety issue. And it's the crown jewel of, I feel like, a parks in Rapid City. It's one of the busiest, most used parks that we have. And while the committee was really excited about doing new and exciting things, we also felt we had a responsibility to help with the maintenance of what we currently had. And that was really what we wanted to focus on with this. Not to mention the inclusion of ADA piers, allowing people that have some mobility issues to actually get out and enjoy close to the water as well. They did have some additional money from Parks and Rec CIP, and then some potential funding from Game, Fish, and Parks. We did take that money out of our request, which is why it doesn't look fully funded, but we're kind of banking on the CIP funds and the Game, Fish, and Parks revenue to come in. They're also planning to help mitigate some of the traffic, the vehicle traffic that goes in there, because it's probably not ideal for a park that's busy, and so that also is being addressed in this. But really, it's just taking such a beautiful area of Rapid City and such a highly used part of Rapid City and just making it safer and more available to everybody. And that's why we were really, really big fans of this project. Parks and Rec Playground. I kind of merged these all into one, but they were 3 separate projects, and I'll start with Johnson Ranch. You can see on the map there, Johnson Ranch, where that's located at. It's obviously got some apartments, single-family homes, lots of things being built. East Rapid City area is really, really growing and ramping up. They didn't have a park. The land was donated. Is that right, Jeff? The land was donated. $800,000. This was really easy for us. It was just to give families in that area that have no place to go with their kids that's close, a place to go. If you've noticed, Parks and Rec has done a great job with the new parks they've been doing about making those accessible and making sure that kids of all abilities and all ages can enjoy them, like we've seen over at Sioux Park. And that's what we liked about this, that ongoing improvement and adding to make sure that as Rapid City continues to grow, that we're growing with it and making sure that those people that move in there have a place to go with their young ones. And so that's why we chose to fund that one. Thompson Park. That one is, if you're familiar, I believe that one is across from the Runnings. Is that right? Yeah, right, Runnings, correct. That one we really liked because you obviously have a lot of apartments and, again, a lot of single-family homes over there. And it's just kind of an area that, again, now we flip back over to just improving what's currently existing. So that one was important because, again, you have a lot of young families, a lot of apartments, a lot of single-family homes, and we wanted to give them an up-to-date, safe, accessible playground. And for $156,000, we thought that was a really good option. Moving over to College Park, they have a TOTS playground. It's kind of like a giant sandbox. Not great. heavily used park, kind of with outdated facilities and stuff. And so we thought that for $90,000, they had a larger playground that kind of benefited more of your larger kids, bigger slides and things of that nature, and monkey bars and stuff. And so we just thought for $90,000 to be able to give some of the little guys a place to go and to be able to play safely was a really good allocation. So that's why we chose College Park. Restroom improvements for Thompson Park and College Park. Again, a lot of the same things we talked about with the playgrounds. It's really taking areas over and kind of in that North Rapid area and just giving them a facelift, right? Continuing the beautification project, continuing to give all those families, young families, single-family homes, people in apartments, to have a place of their own that's up to date, that's safe to use. It's low maintenance to the city. The restrooms, I have kids. I'm sure a lot of you have kids. You know, if you've been at a park before and if there's no place to go to the restroom, you kind of hit the panic button, or you have to leave. You have to find someplace else to go. And so, honestly, as a committee, we felt if we were going to invest in providing really great playgrounds for these places, we wanted the kids to be able to stay there and enjoy them, and we didn't want a bathroom emergency to have to curb that. Not to mention that there was no restroom at Thompson Park, and the one that was at College Park was in really rough shape, was not ADA compliant and needed a facelift. And so we felt like for those investments, that was a really good way to improve that area of town and complement the playgrounds that we had funded as well. Fifth Street median beautification. This one we felt, with it being close to the monument is, in the Summit Arena, was such a huge investment made by the city. And it's such a busy part of town that we felt that area we wanted it to complement the money that we had invested around it. And that one, it's a busy street, and we wanted something just to complement the monument around it. And when you're working with this amount of money too, a lot of times once you fund your bigger projects, you kind of have these remaining balances to kind of work with, to kind of squeeze in there to come in at the budget that we wanted to come in at. And this one kind of fit not only the area and the ideas of what we wanted to accomplish, but it also fit our budget really well, and that's why we chose to allocate the median beautification. Vicky Powers Dog Park. This was a popular one for us. This one, if you're not familiar, is Vicky Powers is located across from Lowe's, also in an area with a lot of single-family homes, a lot of apartments, and Rapid City doesn't have a fully fenced dog park. We are a dog town. I know that all of our dog parks off leash are always very popular. We really like this one because it's close to the interstate. We wanted people to have a place to go with their dogs where they weren't worried about them running off into traffic or getting too far away or mingling with dogs that were 3 times their size. The Parks and Rec did a great job at planning this to where there was a small dog park area, a big dog park area. They kept the track intact for those that don't have dogs that could still walk around it. And there actually is a phase 2 where they start to incorporate some dog agility things, and basically just to make it an even greater dog park. But we really like the idea of people in Rapid City having a place to go with their dogs where they could be fenced in, off a leash, and they really didn't have to worry too much about traffic and some safety issues. And I think we've all seen such an increase in apartments and things being built in Rapid City that we wanted the community to have a place to go with their dogs. And so this one for us was a really easy fund. Rapid City Fire Department Station 4. So big thing with this one is, I think, again, as we've seen, Rapid's growth on the east side of town is huge. And I would encourage everybody to really, kind of talk to the fire department and then kind of hear what their calls for service are versus communities of similar size. And I think it'd be pretty alarming. They respond to so much stuff that, sometimes pertains to them, sometimes doesn't. But either way, when they get called, they have to go. That fire department, I think, is probably supposed to fit maybe 3 or 4 people, and they're squeezing 6, 8 people in there at a time. Fire department guys and gals, they're on 24-hour shifts. So they're in there, they're sleeping in there. We want them rested, we want them ready to go when they get a call. And they're sleeping on cots, they're sleeping in the basement, they're sleeping next to gym equipment. This one we just felt was a really easy investment to just give our first responders that are working those shifts and answering those calls for service just a little bit more of a space to feel relaxed and get some rest and you know, basically be a home away from home while they're out there doing what they're doing. So for us, this was a really good allocation on a side of town that's seeing a lot of growth. Push Forward Skate Park. Again, another project that I think if you would have asked me at the beginning, I don't know what I would have thought on it. But after really getting out there and seeing the space and talking to the individuals that were putting this on, it was just a project that I think is just so unique and really is the epitome of what I think the Vision Fund is about. This is one that is going to be in a great space. If you can see that there, that's actually the basketball court and the parking lot over there on Omaha Street across from Founders Park. So for those that don't remember, across the street there to the east is going to be the pump track, right, the bike course. And then you have the disc golf, which they're going to work in relation to. And then you have the bike path across the street. And we felt like this was, number one, a great location. We felt like this was going to be a really great outdoor space for Rapid City, a really great outdoor sports space with volleyball, with the bike path, with the pump track, with the bike shop, and now with the skateboard park. I liked how they worked with the Frisbee golf guys. They didn't push them out. They worked together to come to an agreement on how to use the space properly. Parks and Rec has very much been involved with the process and will continue to be, should it be approved by City Council. And honestly, we wanted there to be an option for some of your non-traditional sports. I think sometimes Rapid City, we do a great job with baseball. We do a great job with all the other sports. It's always the front page headline. But there's a group of people out there that compete in non-traditional sports or some of your more non-popular sports, such like skateboarding. And I think this is just such a really cool opportunity, number one, to give them a really safe space to continue their sport and to also help grow it. And they did a great job with their presentation, and it was really, they had, the police department was very supportive of it, and we just think it's a really good investment in a really great part of town. Rapid Creek Corridor. So this one was actually allocated in the previous one and did not make it through the next section. This was probably the best tour that we did, and the best tour I did, I think. Back there behind the fairgrounds, as a lot of you know, there's the milk producers plant lot, and there's the polo fields. Those are flood hazard. There's not much you can do back there with those spaces. And if you don't know, there's a lot of safety issues back there, like a lot of safety issues that are really concerning. And we like this plan because it takes a step and help mitigate that. I don't think there was a more passionate bunch that was proposing this project. They did a great job really explaining everything because, I'm not a kayaker, not a fisherman, couldn't tell you the first thing about, the project on face value, but they really did a great job at kind of drawing it with crayons and explaining why this project would have a big impact, why it was so unique, how it's benefited other communities of similar size elsewhere. And I think it's going to have a lot of benefits for an area that you really just can't do much with. I think it's a really good, we felt it was a great project for a really reasonable amount. And that was it.
Well, thank you, John. If you
Sorry,
could-
so that was, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
John, did you have anything else?
Yeah, for everybody that didn't know, we had $12 million. There was $74 million requested. At the end of the day, we came in at $12,004,319. Our goal from the get-go was to fully fund shovel-ready projects that were going to have an immediate impact. That we knew that the task was going to be very hard, and we did make some hard choices. Out of all the projects, all of them were sensational. All of them would serve a need in this community. And we wanted to have projects that benefited all areas of Rapid City, all walks of life. And I really feel like we did that perfectly. There are projects, of course, that we would have loved to fund, and I'm going to give them some special love. Starting off with the Sports Commission and the multi-purpose sport facility. it's been on the topic of conversation since before I was even in high school about having a place year-round for our local athletes to go. And if this had been a normal cycle with more money, I think that's something that we would have been very fully supportive of, if we could even have found a way to, to partially make an investment in that. And I would encourage the city to continue down that path of exploring ways to bring that to fruition and supporting it, because I think that's one that would have a huge impact on our city. And I would also like to say the same thing about the street and maintenance department. That was by and far the most alarming tour, I would say, that we did. When you think about the $70 million in city assets that sit outside and aren't being maintained in the way that they should be, and working out of 1950s facilities, it deserves more attention than what 12 citizens could do. It deserves everybody's attention. But as a citizen committee with $12 million, we had to make tough choices. And while I would have loved to have funded so many more, ultimately we had what we had, and I'm very, very proud of the work that the committee did. We had a lot of tough conversations, and we would have loved to have done more, but ultimately we wanted to come in budget, and we wanted to put together a great group of projects, and we did that. But there's a lot out there in our community that still needs a lot of help and a lot of love, and we just encourage to keep looking at those, and encourage to find ways to hopefully help them come to fruition in the future. So, thank you.
Thank you, John. So that concludes item number 2. Item number 3, when we get to it, will be our questions and discussions and those sorts of things, so you might stand by for that. But do I have a motion to acknowledge the presentation? Motion by Sechrist, second by Maher to acknowledge. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes. Item 3, acknowledge Vision Fund Committee discussion, questions, and motions to award funding from the Vision Fund 5-year plan. Council, this is your opportunity to ask questions or have discussions to the committee, staff members here, wherever you want to go, or just make general comments. We'll begin with the Council President, Kevin Maher.
Yes, I just wanted to comment on one project tonight, and I want to thank the committee. This Canyon Lake project, this is really an important project for the ADA reasons. But I spent Saturday morning out there. It's a 36-acre complex with no connectivity between the fields. And then, like John presented, some folks brought up, there's a big drainage ditch between the two complexes that now are one. And it's not just that there's no sidewalks, there's no concrete pads behind home plate. So if you are in a wheelchair, you can't get up to watch the game. It's rocks. And so this is a very important project. It also, for $1 million, not only do we connect all the fields, but we put in an ADA compliant bathroom, a single bathroom, so that for the people that do go there have access to a nice bathroom. The other thing is, I was out there on Saturday morning. It's not just people in a wheelchair. It's all these young families pushing strollers. They can't push the strollers through the rocks. And so I think this is a very important investment, and it's very reasonable cost, and I just want to recommend that project to begin with. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Councilor Sechrist.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to take a moment and thank the committee for your efforts and time that goes into this. It was a short window of time this round, and so we certainly appreciate your dedication to this process and really look to you to guide us in these recommendations, because this is the Citizens Fund, and these are truly projects that benefit everybody that you brought forward. Some things that I especially appreciate are just your attention to maintaining limited impacts on our O&Ms and ongoing maintenance and operations for the city. And as we can see kind of throughout this presentation, we have significant needs in the community and so many wonderful amenities that need updates and maintenance to continue to use those and benefit those as a community. So I really appreciate that. And also that we're focusing on our existing amenities and park systems. So as pertaining to Ward 2, you have a couple of really great projects that I've had on my list. Johnson Ranch, and then the 5th Street corridor, the streetscaping improvements there. There are some safety concerns that have been brought forward by those residents at Memorial Park Apartments, and I think that will fit nicely into the city upgrading that for a potential barrier for traffic as it's coming down that intersection. And lastly, I would just say thank you for your support of our Parks and Recreation Department. Our Parks and Rec is truly a division that benefits everybody equally, and in my opinion, that all families have the opportunity to go anywhere in town and enjoy our park system. I live in Southeast Rapid, and I've been up to Vicky Powers Park, use their dog park. So I think that it's wonderful that we're focusing on priorities that impact all of us, and so appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll go to Councilor Pat Roseland.
I too want to really thank the board or the commission for doing the hard work that we couldn't do up here. You spent many, many hours, days, months up to this point, just vetting each one of these projects that all could have done well, as John had mentioned, but there's just a short amount of money, and I believe that you chose the best and the ones that would work and help the most in Rapid City, especially the young children. And so I just want to thank you tremendously for the job you've done, and the City Council will move on forward and hopefully support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, Councilor Greg Stroman.
Thank you, Mayor. And I'd also like to thank the committee. There's a ton of work that you guys did, and just really thoughtful and well planned, and just appreciate all your efforts on that. And I think Mr. Kaiser said that all of them were sensational projects, and they were limited by the amount of funding available, and that many of the projects, even those that were not recommended, would benefit all parts of our community. I guess one project that did not get recommended, which I'd like to speak on for a minute anyway, is the Sports Commission multi-purpose facility. I think that also would have a huge impact on our community in a positive way. I think it's an economic driver for our community. It's an opportunity to increase sports tourism and tourism in the area, especially in the shoulder seasons where we have a thriving tourist economy in the summer, but there's times in the fall and in the spring when a facility like that would really be utilized and would bring more tourists into town. I think it would provide benefits for years to come, and it would also provide benefits for the youth in our community. I think so many of our youth are economically challenged to be able to participate in some of these activities, and if we had a facility where more people could get involved, I think it would benefit our community. I think some of our youth would get into healthy lifestyles that they may not have now. And I think that it would show support for our community for something like this when we go to seek additional funding from corporate donors or sponsors. I think that we have to have some buy-in as a community. And so I'm gonna hopefully convince some of my fellow alder people up here to see if we can work something out where we could get some funding for that. And I wondered if I could ask Mr. Kaiser to come up for well, he's still up, I guess, but just to speak.
I was ready for you.
Speak briefly on it, and then if we have time, ask D'Amico or Dave if they could say a few words. Thank you, John.
Well, and I think, I told D'Amico this after his presentation, and this is really a testament to everybody. The other thing that made this so tricky is you had entities that were completely volunteer driven that were doing these presentations. They're moms, they're dads, they have full-time jobs. They're just volunteers, trying to do this for whatever they felt passionate about. And they had 10 minutes to present it in front of us. And I've said it multiple times. I've been on this side before where I was presenting, and the tour and the public presentation were everything, right? That's where on paper, it's just a project, right? But in person, it's the passion. And that we gave them 10 minutes to display that. We gave them 10 minutes to showcase that passion and to showcase their support. And D'Amico was trying to do that for a $55+ million project. We gave him 10 minutes. We're like, come on, D'Amico, do your thing. Couldn't agree more. And I said this. I said it in my press conference. If we would have had the normal Vision Fund cycle allocations of money, we would have definitely put some money in this as a show of faith. I have 3 boys under 10 that are all in sports, and having a place to go. It's not so much about a east side of the state versus the west side of the state. It's about us. And I think the committee did a good job. We really tried to focus not so much on economic impact. We do a great job at tourism. It's the best thing we do. Our economic impact. We're South Dakota. We do tourism. We do cattle. We do that very well. But what we need to do is focus on home. And that's what the Sports Commission would do. That's what that project would do. Yes, it would bring in tournaments, it would bring in economic impact, but at some point you have to focus on the kids here and the people here. And it's not just kids. The adult lifestyle, the healthy lifestyle of adults needs to be taken into consideration as well, right? And so like when you look at McKeag Field, does it benefit kids? You bet. Are there adults out there playing baseball? Absolutely, right? Are there adults that are gonna be out using the skate park? You bet, they're the ones that presented. So I think that, now granted, we had 12 million. And again, I'm gonna stand by what we said. We didn't want to partially fund, and we wanted things that were ready to go. But if I would have had some money to put some in as a show of faith, we totally would have. And I encourage the city council to get creative. I get creative, figure it out, find some money to put towards that as a show of faith, because D'Amico was also very instrumental in bringing Little League together in baseball. That's why the project at Little League Canyon Lake is happening. It took him coming to the table from Harney's side of the things to bring this to fruition. We're all working together. In the past, sports has always been kind of jumbled here. It's been non-communicative. It's been problematic, and we're moving in a really healthy direction, at least in my opinion. And it'd be great to see that same connectivity come at your guys' level, and that support to showcase from you guys. So I agree 100%, Mr. Stroman. You guys just needed to give me more money. That's all.
Councilor Stroman, did you want to have D'Amico and?
Can you have a few minutes?
Yeah, absolutely. We have representatives from the Sports Commission, D'Amico Rodriguez, who leads this important endeavor.
And I, again, want to thank the committee. I've sat through a few of these myself from different entities that I've worked for. And as a good partner for unifying sports in Rapid City, we want to support all of the projects, work with the local organizations. Even if I am a Harney guy in Canyon Lake, we want to support what's best for the kids and what's best for the community. So, Mr. Stroman, yes, we would have loved to have seen money allocated for this project. It will be difficult at times for us to go chase corporate dollars. But we have good faith in the people up on the dais right now to get creative and trying to find ways for a bigger project that will have a very large impact in this community. For those that don't know, there are things happening behind the scenes that not everyone can know about. So I just want to, one, thank those that have been involved. We've met with almost all of the city council to propose our project. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of things going on in the background that will come to fruition in the upcoming months. But just know we are fully supportive of the projects that have been vetted and recommended. We're a little disappointed. I'm not going to act like we're not, but we do know that there's opportunities and we'll continue to drive forward. We appreciate Councilman Stroman's support through this whole process, but I do know that there's some things going on in the background that we'll continue to push for to try to get this complex built. Daniel Ainsley said it best in one of our meetings. This is a transformational project. What we're putting forward will change the landscape of Rapid City forever. This is a small hurdle, but we'll continue to work towards the greater good.
Yeah, one way or the other, we'll make it happen. Next up, I have Councilor John Roberts.
Thank you very much. And I do believe we will make this happen in the next few years. I think it's a very important project. I do want to thank the committee. I think you did a great job. I've sat through a couple of these over the last few years. And as far as I can see, I think this is the best one that I've ever seen proposed to us. I want to thank you, John. I never thought in a million years I would hear somebody from the Vision Committee come forward and say, we wanted to make sure we didn't add to your O&M. I mean, being honest with you, I mean, that was never considered in the past. And I think it's important. These projects, one of the things I'm very excited about, other than the fact there's a few of them in my ward, which is nice, is our Park and Rec department is underfunded the way it is. And we have a very big challenge every year balancing our CIP to find out which projects we're going to get done through Park and Rec. And this gives them a nice shot in the arm that I think is going to be very beneficial to the community for decades. And I just want to thank you guys. I think you did a fantastic job. So, thanks.
What you heard tonight, unless other council members want to chime in, what you heard tonight across the board here is a council united on their appreciation and your thoughtfulness. I mean, it is pretty tremendous what you did. If folks don't realize, they had an aggressive timeline where normally they have a lot more time to spend a lot more money, or at least recommend a lot more money, but they put in the work, and they all said they were game, and they stepped up to it. So we appreciate that. And to the projects that did not receive a recommendation, it does not mean they're worthwhile, and it's not a no forever. Sometimes it's just a no for now. But I encourage you to keep working on those projects. And Councilor Stroman's comments about the sports complex coming up is huge, and I think we have an opportunity to do some great things. And so I appreciated that the Vision Fund recommendation included a shout out for that facility, so that we could make sure this community knows that there is support for this. It will have a huge impact, and I believe that we'll be better off for it. So I do know Councilor Maher is now in the queue, and
It's actually in the queue for the next item, which is number 4.
So we're still on 3.
Okay.
So
So I can make the motion to acknowledge the Vision Fund Committee presentation?
yeah, and I think one of the decisions is, do you want to continue the final decision to the next city council meeting? Do you want to make a motion tonight? I just want to make sure we have clear direction.
Okay, I thought that was number 4, but I will go ahead and
Okay.
make the motion. I'd like to make the motion that I'd like to make the motion that we accept the recommendations of the Vision Committee as presented. I thought they did a wonderful job, and I don't think we need to wait 2 weeks to have a vote. I think we should go ahead and vote tonight if fellow council members are willing to do that.
Okay, so the motion on the floor is to accept the recommendation from the Vision Fund Committee by Maher, with a second by John Roberts. Councilor Stroman?
Yes, I'd like to, because we are short 2 people, I guess I would like to hold off on a final vote. So I would make a substitute motion to wait to vote until the next meeting.
Okay, so the substitute motion is to wait to have this decision at the next city council meeting, I think is when they're going to deliberate. Do we have a second on that? All right, motion fails for lack of second. So with that, duly noted, all your missing mates will be grateful that you did do that. So all in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
All right, motion passes with 1 no from Greg Stroman. So really, number 4 is now really a moot point. So they have accepted your recommendations tonight. We'll continue to work on some of these other items as well. We hope to have some announcements here in the near future. To all of you who are part of these organizations, you're part of making this happen. All of this is a teamwork thing. No one person gets the credit. It's a community-wide effort, and I want to say thank you for your efforts as well. Some of you have been fighting for these things for years, and I hope you saw this pay off tonight. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Got a motion by Roberts and a second by Roseland to adjourn. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone. So good.